Also has smoothies, teas, and delicious food items too. Scooter's Coffee, 700 Governors Drive, just east of the Parkway. Amazing people, amazing drinks, amazingly fast. Find out more at scooterscoffee.com.
Eastern on ESPN Radio and on ESPN. You can also listen on the ESPN app and on your smart speaker.
The NCAA Women's Gymnastics Championship. Here come the showstoppers, pushing the limits.
It all comes down to who is the best right here, right now.
In a fierce competition with everything on the line.
The stage is set to crown the national champion.
The NCAA Women's Gymnastics Championship semifinals, Thursday at 3 and 9 Eastern on ESPN2.
Here we go, the NBA play-in tournament.
We finally made it. Nobody's safe now. It's getting dangerous.
This is Paul Feinbaum. That'll do it for me today. Coming up next, The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
This hour is brought to you by Woody Anderson Ford, Alabama's F-150 Superstore. Welcome to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline, 256-576-4977.
That's how I roll. And I'm not going to drink and drive anymore.
That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Wes and Steve.
Is this thing on? Are we good? All right. We have a busy show in store for you. This is during the old Johnny Carson days where Ed would say, "How busy are we?" So we've got Eli Gold coming up in 15 minutes' time. Going to be fun to catch up with the voice of the Crimson Tide, get a update on how he's doing as he preps for the fall. And so Mr. Gold going to join us in 15 minutes' time. Brandon Marcello, or Marcello, depending on if you know Mr. Marcello, formerly covered the Auburn Tigers, now is the man in charge at 247. He is going to join us later on here in hour number one. He penned a couple of articles that we need to get into. One about the Auburn Tigers, who just concluded their spring game. Another about how close, potentially, Nick Saban was to hiring the Auburn head football coach. So looking forward to that. Also in hour number two, nobody better to break down secondary play and just talk ball than Coach Colley. And that's Antonio Langham. He's going to join us in hour number two. And he knows, Wes. He knows Nick Saban is talking at 6 o'clock, and he is hoping that Coach Saban talks about some dogs. Some dogs. So that's coming up in hour number two. If you don't know what I'm talking about with dogs, then that's a previous visit, and you need to go back and listen to it. Wes Neighbors, how are you, sir?
Doing good. Doing real good.
I don't know if you know, but a SEC program closed down spring today.
Kentucky.
That'd be the Kentucky Wildcats.
So why do they do it today?
They did it today. I don't know why they did it today.
Did they not have a spring game, I don't guess?
Did not have a spring game. Kroger Field is under construction. I don't know if you know this, but Kroger Field is going through a renovation. They are replacing the turf there in Lexington. So no spring game for Mark Stoops, but he did talk to the media today. He's pretty upbeat about his offense and his transfer quarterback there is multiple transfers. By the way, I did not know this until I looked at the roster today. Is anybody else aware that Ray Davis went from Vanderbilt to Kentucky, the standout tailback at Vanderbilt? I mean, it's, I think, a fairly significant pickup. And sure enough, the 1-year COVID eligibility for Ray Davis, he is now a Kentucky Wildcat. But a lot of attention on the quarterback position and the transfer from North Carolina State and Devin Leary, but also the return of a certain offensive coordinator is giving people hope up there in the Bluegrass.
I mean, I'm not going to give you, what do you want, some statistics?
I'll take it.
Yeah, nice try. I mean, we're going to improve. We're going to improve. I feel very confident that we'll improve. As I mentioned, we own the areas where we fell short, and that's on a lot of people. And I feel like we are addressing those things. And Devin has been a great addition. It was a spot where we needed somebody right now with that kind of experience. And we need to improve at offensive line around him. We've talked about that. We need to be more balanced. I think the comfort level with Liam and due to the fact that he's been here a few years ago and was effective, I think we could build on that. And that doesn't mean it's all going to be the same. This game evolves and grows and changes daily. And so it won't be exactly the same.
That is Mark Stoops. As Kentucky closes down their spring drills today. Last night, Sam Pittman spoke to the media, and he was asked about his new offensive coordinator out there in the Ozarks, and Dan Enos.
12 personnel, 13 personnel. We've seen a lot of that in practice. We've seen some 20 personnel, some 21 personnel. That's something that we should expect out of Coach Enos' offense this year, a lot of versatility like that.
Yeah, and I think part of it really, Andrew, is he's trying to find out, who our players are for himself. Obviously he's watched all the games and things of that nature, but I think he's trying to see where we can attack people in different formations. But he's got to see, he got to get a good feel about the line. He's got to get a good feel about how many tight ends we can put out there. But, I think it wouldn't be real hard for us to be more multiple than what we were because, we played so fast. But we'll be much different looking personnel-wise than what we were before.
That is Sam Pittman talking to the media last night. Their spring game is coming up on Saturday. They do good on good, ones on ones, according to Coach Pittman. And it is an offensive score and a defensive score as they do it in that type of format. Let's squeeze in Big C before our first break as we get ready for Eli Gold on the other side. How are you, Big C?
I'm good. Hey, Wes, how are you?
I'm doing good, Big C. How are you doing?
We're hanging in there. That's great. Y'all going to have Eli Gold. I'm glad he's coming back. I like Chris Stewart, and he was a good replacement or a good stand-in for him, but gotten used to Eli. He's been there. Gosh, I think he was there longer than Forney was, if I'm not mistaken.
Started in '88, I want to say.
Yeah, that's right. And other than last year, it's '88. Let's see, 2000, 2022, 2000. All right. Yeah, he didn't move to the 2022 season, though. That's a lot of years. That's about 30-something, 5 years there.
Yeah.
Talking about that, that's a long time. And I don't know, Forney, he had it for a pretty good while, but I don't think he had it that long, though.
I do not know that off the top of my head.
But what are you hearing down in Tuscaloosa, Wes, about spring practice?
Is someone feeding you these questions,
yes,
Big C?
Yes.
No.
We've talked about it. I think what Coach Saban said in his press conference tells it all. I think they got a lot of young talent. They got a lot of work to do, and I think they're going to be fine at quarterback. I think they have actually. I was impressed with all the quarterbacks, and I thought they were out there without their four of their what should be starters, but there's some guys behind them that are doing good things. So they just need to come together, find some leaders, and they'll have a chance to be a top-notch team. I don't think there's any doubt about that. They have talent all over the field.
Now, did you go down there last Saturday?
Yes.
Friday.
Last Friday, yeah. It was Friday.
So you went down there. I want to ask y'all both a question. All right, you hear some of these things I know at Alabama they're going to try to get them to, he's not going to make a decision until maybe the second game to really decide to name the starter, make sure one of them don't transfer out after spring.
But I'm not sure that's why he does it. I think he does it to give them both a good, a legitimate shot, not just to try to keep them from transferring. Because in the end, what does that do? They can, we had one leave after the first or second game, not long ago. I mean, I don't think that he is just trying to get somebody to stay by not announcing. I think that all these quarterbacks, I think there are 4 quarterbacks down there that I watched that have potential to be really, really good players. So I think that it's actually, if you watching how it's doing, it's he's not trying to get not somebody to transfer. He's trying to find the best one there.
Oh, I understand that. All right. Well, I'm going to ask you another question. All right, just say, like, you know how kids are. But, to me, if you don't transfer, you'd be better off transferring during the spring and, say, go through a spring and then transfer in the summer and go to another school because it's a lot harder to learn a new terminology, or do you think they take that into consideration?
Man, who knows? That's why, if we talking about transferring quarterbacks,
yes.
I think that if you need to give you need to give 3 years to the place you go to, not unless you just obviously you can't play, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, if you're third string and they bring another guy and you go to fourth string, then it's obvious you're not going to play. So I mean, but I think a lot of these guys pull the trigger way too soon, and then they end up they transfer every year and never end up learning the system to play. I mean, we saw that with the guy I'm talking about left early. What was his name? I mean, he left after the third or fourth game, did he? So he could be eligible next year. Well, so what? Blake Barnett. So he ended up he flamed out.
He went to Arizona State, then went to South Florida.
He went everywhere.
Yeah.
And now and then I read an article where he blames Alabama.
Well, I played that audio.
Yeah, this is crazy.
When he went on a podcast.
Yeah, it was.
There's only 3 podcasts.
How do you blame Alabama when you didn't even stay there? So,
Big C, we are right up against a break. Really appreciate you calling in. Always great to hear from you. The voice of the Tide, Eli Gold. He joins us next. We'll be right back.
You're listening to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Rambo Marine in Hazel Green is your one-stop shop for all things boating. Whether you are ready to surf with the newest Malibu wake boat or cruise on a Cobalt or Barletta pontoon, we have a boat ready for you and your family. Rambo Marine provides exceptional service second to none, so that you are ready to hit the water in no time. Stop by Rambo Marine today. We know boats.
Tom Luganbill here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, Check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
One of the best-kept golf secrets in the Tennessee Valley is Cherokee Ridge. Cherokee Ridge truly offers golf at a higher level with immaculate greens set against a spectacular Appalachian backdrop. This 18-hole championship course takes every advantage of rolling hills, whispering woods, lakes, and streams. Interested in becoming a member? Their membership plans feature affordable options for couples, families, and individuals. Book your tee time today, 256-841-4551. Cherokee Ridge. Championship quality, affordable prices.
What if I told you that Bigfoot is real and that he's making the best donuts you've ever had? Come see for yourself at Bigfoot's Little Donuts. Come in and order from over 50 flavors, all made hot and delicious. Ranked in the top 100 donut shops in the nation by Yelp. Bigfoot Little Donuts. Order in store or online at bigfootslittledonuts.com for pickup or delivery from Grub South or DoorDash. South Parkway, Huntsville, and County Line Road, Madison. Bigfoot's Little Donuts.
We've all heard the phrase, what's in a name? When it comes to your comfort, the name means everything. Environmental Comfort Systems is the name to remember when it comes to your home's comfort. Environmental means our systems are environmentally friendly, even more environmentally friendly than systems sold just a few years ago. And comfort? Well, that's our middle name. Our systems are built to keep you and your family comfortable for years to come. And last but not least, we install systems, not units. Our systems are designed specifically for your home, based on your home's square footage and the way it faces the sun. Environmental Comfort Systems does more than just sell air conditioners. We install comfort systems that will make your home a more enjoyable place to live. So give Environmental Comfort Systems a call. We are your independently owned American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer, serving Decatur, Madison, and the Tennessee Valley. Visit our website at envcomfort.com. Alabama license number 92314. Environmental Comfort Systems.
Hi, this is Wes Neighbors. I'm here with Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Sam, tell the folks about Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
Hey Wes, our company Fleming Roofing and Restoration specializes in commercial and residential roofing and repairs. I'm a fifth generation Huntsvillian, and our family's been doing construction business in Huntsville area since 1965.
Sam, what kind of roofs does Fleming Roofing and Restoration do?
Our guys are skilled enough. We can come out and address any kind of leaks or issues you might have on your commercial, on your metal roofing, on your shingles. We can do anything, and we can offer you a solution to repair it, or we can replace it.
Well, you guys also do insurance restoration.
Our staff has 10 plus years of experience as insurance adjusters, and we really do know the inside and out of the claims process at Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
Check out Fleming Roofing and Restoration online at FlemingHSV.com, or you can call or text them at 256-651-9440.
Hey Wes, we show up.
This segment of The Drive is brought to you by Woody Anderson Ford, located online at WoodyAndersonFord.com with 2 locations, Hughes Road in Madison and Jordan Lane in Huntsville.
Back here on The Drive, along with Wes Neighbors, Steve Moulton back here with you. Antonio Langham, Coach Colley going to join us in hour number 2. Coach Saban also set to address the media in hour number 2. We'll carry that live for you as well. But let's head out to the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Talk some Crimson Tide with the voice of the Crimson Tide, and that is Mr. Eli Gold. How are you, sir?
I am well, Steve. Thank you. It's great to be on with you, and I'm happy to catch one of those rare days that Wes is with you, so that's nice.
That's bad, Eli. You getting on me for not being here?
Wow.
No, but I'm doing well. Thank you, guys. It's been a tough year. It has been a tough year. Took a long time to figure out what I had, and when they finally figured it out, they realized I had cancer, and then you go through all the chemotherapies and so on. So it has not been easy, but it's nice to be back and good to be back with you guys and all of our friends up in the Huntsville, Madison area.
Well, I don't know how much you want to share with the class, but I just, feeling-wise, how do you feel right now, just coming back from...
I feel pretty good, actually. the after effects of the chemotherapy are varied. They told me when I first started all this that I would lose my hair. Well, of course, I didn't have much hair to lose anyway, but I didn't lose any. It stayed right there. It just hung in tight. They told me I would get tired, and I have gotten, there's been a good bit of tiredness. As a matter of fact, last chemotherapy session, the doctor said I was doing so very well, which I was, that they decided to raise the dosage just a little bit. Not that I needed it. I was doing fine, and they were of the impression that I was going to be cured. But, hey, you're not having any after effects. Let's raise the dosage a bit. And they did, and they told me, now this will probably knock you on your butt a little bit. And that truly has. The last 2 weeks, the chemo is every 3 weeks, and I really, the last couple of weeks, I have slept a long time. It's just, I get up, you grab a little breakfast, then you lay down, then you take an afternoon nap, and then it is what it is. But, they're pleased, I'm pleased. When I first started this thing, we all thought it was, we didn't know what it was, to be honest with you. And then my legs stopped working. I woke up one morning, and my legs didn't work. I couldn't walk.
That has to be the worst feeling in the world.
It was unbelievable. Unbelievable. I go to bed the night before, and I've never been the most mobile human being in America. But, I went to bed, walked into the bedroom, went to bed, woke up the next morning, and I couldn't walk. And, we had to fight that, and learning how to walk again has not been easy, but I'm doing pretty well. I'm walking well with a walker. I am walking pretty well with a cane, and I can also walk without any assistance, but nobody wants me to do that yet. They're afraid, as am I, of falling or what have you. So, if I have to show up for something with a walker, so be it. There are plenty of people in this world who use a walker. But I've had to learn how to walk again. And that's been a bit of a challenge, but now I'm getting around just great. I'm getting around, but, like this afternoon, I was sitting here doing something. I was reading a book, actually. I don't know what time it was, probably about 1:30 or so. I was reading a book, and I just said to my wife, I said, I'll be back. I'm taking a nap. And I went and I laid down for 2.5 hours. So there is a fatigue factor that I'm still dealing with. But all in all, I feel fine. I can't complain. I've got, I've lost a lot of weight. As we all know, I was never a small man. I topped off at about 3.25, probably, when we look back over the years. I topped off at about 325 pounds. And then with not wanting to eat and being in the hospital, I was in the hospital for better than 200 days.
Wow.
Rehab centers, nursing home centers, back to the hospital. I was in UAB 6 different times. And through all of that, I lost my interest to eat, and I was down to about 180 pounds. So from I wasn't at 365 or 325 when this started, but I got down to 180 something. And now I've gained back about 30 pounds, which is good. They're thrilled. The doctors are insisting that I eat, which is, words that are foreign to my ear. When's the last time you ever heard somebody tell Eli to eat more? But in all seriousness, I have to.
Yeah.
I'm having ice cream for dessert. I'm having whatever. But I don't have that big appetite. For Easter Sunday, we had the family over, and I had a good plate, and normally I will have a good second plate, and maybe even a touch of a third plate. And I didn't. I had the one plate, kept a little room for dessert, and that was it. So it's changed my life a little bit. But, I'm alive. I'm well. I've learned how many friends I have. I have learned the depth of my wife's love for me. I have learned so much in this period of time that, I don't want to go through it again, but boy, did I learn so much. I mean, the reaching out from fans, from listeners, and I found it interesting, not just Alabama fans, Auburn people were so, and not just, Jacksonville State folks, and this one and that one, they're all so to reach out and wish me the best. That's what I've gained in all of this.
Well, since you went there, talking to Eli Gold right now on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline, I'd love for you to speak a little bit more because we know more about you than your wife. Tell me a little bit more about your wife, please, sir.
Well, Claudette and I have been married 45 years.
Wow.
Which is remarkable.
Wow.
And and she is. I have found, and I'm not going to get on a pedestal here, but I have found that anytime you want to go to a hospital or need to go to a hospital, you need to have an advocate in your corner. I mean, there's times where you're just out of it, for whatever reason, whether it's medication, whatever it might be. You need somebody. We've been married 46 years. I am just corrected. It just feels like 45. But we have been. You have to have an advocate in your corner, and Claudette has been that advocate. She has gone to battle with people, doctors, nurses, all you name them. She has gone to bat for them, and I just want to, and she's gone to bat for me against them or with them. I suggest to anybody who needs hospital care, have somebody like a Claudette, have an advocate. Make sure your wife, your daughter, your whomever is there looking after your best interests, because it often doesn't happen, regretfully. But there's a lot of stuff I don't remember, stuff I just don't remember. I was very sick. We tried to downplay it, but I was a very, very sick boy. The doctors told Claudette that they nearly lost me twice because I was very, very sick. But she is a wonderful lady, and, she's happy that it's starting to warm up a little bit. She wants to get back out and work in the garden, which she is already doing. And, she's going to, I'll tell you, the worst job is being a caregiver. The worst job is being a caregiver because, you want stuff done. They're not ready to do it, this, that, and the other. You look ahead, and I have to go to, I'm not going to do A Day. Before you ask that question, I am going to hopefully be back in time for the start of the regular season. But, right now, I'm not allowed to drive. My right foot hasn't come around to the degree that it needs to. And everybody's hesitant for me to get loose behind the wheel. So, she's going to have to start driving me all over the place, which is not really what she wants to do, but, she'll do it. But, you just need to be lucky to have a woman like Claudette on your side. You really, really are. And even though sometimes you want to throw her out the window, she says, "Don't fight with me. You're not going to win." But she's a good girl. She really is. And of course, Elise, our daughter, between, in all seriousness, now I think it was like 176 days I was in the hospital. Okay, and realistically, probably 7 days went by when there wasn't one or the other or both at the hospital with me, sitting, talking, just reading their book and watching the TV while I slept. They would talk with the doctors. It was just, it was a very, very special thing to have them by my side.
Talking with Eli Gold right now on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline, and reading up a little bit on you, Eli. So there is one website in particular, Wikipedia, that is informing me that you went to a school that began at 7 a.m. and knocked off at 10:41. Is that true? First, and if so, wow! I mean,
that was New York City. That was New York City. I was in my high school, and which I didn't often attend, I might add. But they, in New York City in those days. Now we're going back. I don't even know what year we're talking, but a long, long time ago, as they sang, the 60s and 70s, they didn't have enough room. My school, for instance, my high school, was built to accommodate like 3,000 kids. In New York City, your freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior high school years are all in the same building. And that building was built to accommodate 3,000 kids. Well, my senior class alone had some 3,000 children in it. And what they had to do was you'd go to class, they'd put up, mobile offices, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Those big ugly gray things.
Yeah.
They'd put them in the playground, they'd put them everywhere. Anyway, the long story short is they would reteach the same class many times over, and they would let you go to work during the majority of the day or go home or whatever you wanted to do. And then, you'd get your classroom work in because you had to go to school 3.5 hours a day for the school to get their money from the state. Okay, I'm not sure exactly what they called it, but it was a grant, whatever. Everybody had to go if you went 3.5 hours. So, I went 3 hours and 41 minutes. That was my class. And then what I chose to do on the instances of me going to school is I would get up early, go to class from 7 until 10:41, hop on the subway, ride into Midtown Manhattan, and go to work at Madison Square Garden. There were other guys who chose to work during a normal business day, and they went to work, then they went to school from, 5 o'clock till 8:30 at night. It's different. It was different with the numbers being what they were. But yes, that was accurate.
Wow.
But as it turns out, I didn't go very often. My mother had to plea bargain to get me out of high school. My high school principal, I'm serious, my high school principal was her social studies teacher.
Ooh.
Okay? So it's funny how that stuff comes around and goes around. And she talked to Mr. Hilson, I believe his name was, and said, look, let the boy go. He's a good kid. I was able to walk to school when I wanted. When I didn't, I just walked right past the school and directly to the subway. And that was how it worked. And I ended up getting a diploma with the proviso that I don't walk across the stage on graduation day, because everybody knew I had not ever really gone to class, and that's how it worked. And that's the story of lovable little Eli.
That's fantastic. I know I'm just scraping the surface here with what I'd like to talk about with your early days in radio as well, but I know we'd love to have you back on, Eli. But you sound great.
Call me anytime.
You sound great,
good.
And we need to get you back on.
We miss you, Eli.
Yes, we do.
Well, I miss you guys. I mean, Chris did a magnificent job, and I thank him for that. And he is going to be back with us as the host of the broadcast if I can't go. And again, I haven't. Everything I'm telling you is without the okay of the doctors. But I do believe I'm on the right track to be ready in time for the season opener.
Well, we're looking forward to that, but to continued good health to you and your wife, sir, and your daughter, and we certainly appreciate the time, sir.
Thank you guys so much. Great to be with you, and call anytime.
Thank you, sir. That is Eli Gold.
Great to hear his voice.
Can you imagine being done with school at 10:41 in the morning and then hop on a subway? I'm so glad I asked him that. Anyway, we do need to take our second time out. Brandon Marcello from 247. He is going to join us next. And then Nick Saban, scheduled presser at 6.
You're listening to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Hey folks, Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford. If you've been considering owning a new Mustang, Explorer, Expedition, Edge, Escape, or Bronco Sport, we have 0% financing for 60 months on 22 models of those vehicles. This won't last long because as we sell off our 2022s, 0 for 60 goes with it. When they're gone, they're gone. Let me repeat, Woody Anderson Ford has 22 models of Bronco Sport, Explorer, Escape, Edge, Expedition, and Mustang with financing as low as 0% for up to 60 months. But when they're gone, it's gone. And of course, it's with your good credit through Ford Motor Credit. This offer ends April 29th. Woody Anderson Ford can also help you trade in and trade up on a Ford Blue Advantage Gold Certified or Blue Certified pre-owned vehicle. Great warranties, 24-hour roadside assistance, and a full tank of gas and a fresh oil change. Don't forget 0 for 60 on select 22 models while they last. Woody Anderson Ford, hope to see you soon.
New name, new players, and an even better championship experience. This April, the Korn Ferry Tour returns to the Rocket City for the 2023 Hometown Lenders Championship at the Ledges. Experience the beauty and drama of the Ledges in person as golf's rising stars chase their PGA Tour dreams. From the first man on the green to the roar of the crowd when the final putt drops. Be part of every moment of the Hometown Lenders Championship at the Ledges from April 24th through April 30th. Tickets to be a part of the action are on sale now at HTLChamp.com.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
Now that the weather is finally broken, we can get ready for some better golf weather. Coming up this Friday, our Zone Deal features 2 rounds of golf for the price of 1 at Gunner's Landing.
$1,000 you missed that putt.
Head over to our website, 977ESPN.com. Click on the Zone Deal. Get ready for Friday. 2 rounds of golf for the price of 1 at Gunner's Landing.
Let's go while we're young.
977ESPN.com.
Not looking or feeling your best? No energy for the things you like to do? Ready to look and feel younger? Make your appointment at Advanced Life Clinic, one of the region's foremost destinations for patients interested in looking and feeling their best. Specializing in advanced laser treatments and weight loss, male and female rejuvenation to offset the effects of aging, and more. See how Advanced Life Clinic can help you enjoy your life again. Call 256-882-6555 or log on advancedlifeclinic.com.
If you're ready to lower your utility bills, it's time to call Eagle Insulation. Eagle can handle it all. Attic re-insulation, insulation removal, wall insulation, and new construction insulation, commercial and residential. Our primary goal is to save you money, and lots of it. Typical clients realize their return on investment within 3 to 6 months. That means the re-insulation actually pays for itself and then some. See if we can help you. Contact Eagle Insulation today, 256-755-1556, or log on insulatewitheagle.com.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A beautiful Wednesday across North Alabama, southern Middle Tennessee. We're talking about a mostly sunny sky. Temperature should have no problem climbing into the mid-70s, dropping into the lower 50s as we head into the overnight early into your Thursday morning. We're going to begin to see an increase in cloud cover through the middle and later part of Thursday morning. We're also going to begin to introduce the opportunity for a little bit of rain across the Tennessee Valley. We'll maintain the opportunity at least for some scattered showers and thunderstorms through a good chunk of Thursday afternoon, and then even as we head into Thursday evening. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You know, this process is all about talking ball.
Listen to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond.
What did they want privacy for? To just start talking ball.
Every weekday morning, wake up with Scott and Drew. It's Talkin' Ball. 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Back here with you on the drive. Really good to hear from Eli Gold right there. And just got through texting Eli. He's going to come back in, and we're going to have a couple more visits this summer with Eli. But it was really good to catch up with him. Always good to catch up as well with our next guest, who has been one busy guy all over the place. He is the man in charge at 247 as Brandon Marcello. Or Marcello, depending on your vernacular there, joins us right now on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. How are you, Brandon?
Doing well. How are you?
Doing real well. Boy, there is a lot to get to. I heard a little bit of your podcast that you tweeted out earlier today, so let's start with Auburn, much like you did on your podcast, of all the moving parts after, to quote you, the hiccup obviously did not work down there on the plains.
Yeah, I mean, Brian Harson's gone. He's a distant memory, just a terrible experiment, and pretty much everybody who was involved in that decision are gone as well. And, things are fresh down there. It seems a lot different. I visited down there, I guess, 3-4 weeks ago, and first time inside that new athletics complex that they've got for the football program. It's truly feels like a completely new start there for them.
So at this time last year, it was maybe the worst kept secret around college football that the football coach would be canned, the AD would be canned. We just didn't know which would go first. And sure enough, here we are after spring drills. What state is in Auburn right now, you think, as they head into the portal land coming up on Saturday?
Well, they need a quarterback. I know that the coaches and everybody might tiptoe around that, but they need a quarterback. I mean, right now the leader in the clubhouse is Robbie Ashford, but if you look at his progress last season, yes, he tried to carry that team, and he was heroic in some aspects, especially in that Iron Bowl, but the stats are not eye-popping. He completed less than 50% of his passes. He had the worst completion percentage among any quarterback to start a game in the SEC in 2022. And if he ends up being the starter for them, I think it's going to limit Hugh Freeze and what he wants to be able to do. I think also that they're a little limited, one from the experience aspect of it at receiver, but also just in talent. And they need those guys to step up. But I'm interested to see what they do in these next 2 weeks in the transfer portal, and if a quarterback does emerge out there that they would be very interested in. Because right now I think they've got a pretty good offensive line that they've been able to build out with 4 4-star guys coming in this spring. from the transfer portal and also one from the junior college levels. But, I think what's going to hold them back a little bit is just the progress of the receivers, and if they don't find a better quarterback in that transfer portal.
Is there anybody in that portal right now that catches your eye that maybe Hugh Freeze will look at?
Not right now. Old Dominion's quarterback jumped in yesterday. He's a Florida guy from Florida. It'll be interesting to see where he goes, but, he's not necessarily someone who's going to be quite dynamic enough maybe to really blow the doors off anybody in the SEC. But you never know who's going to enter the portal here in the next 3 to 4 days. And there might be some guys out there quarterback-wise who are either backups or maybe starters at some smaller programs that wanted to go through the spring, see where things land with some other teams, and then also maybe themselves graduate this spring, get that out of their way, and then transfer. So keep your eyes out for that. But you'll start hearing those names, obviously, on Saturday when the portal opens, and I think Auburn will have a pretty good idea of which way they're going to go based off those first 2 days in that portal on Saturday.
Brandon, I'm kind of surprised that I thought Robbie Ashford had the talent to run a Hugh Freeze type offense. Because he ran the option. What he did well, of course, throwing the ball. He looked like he got better. He did well, he made some incredible throws in the Iron Bowl.
Yeah, but still, it's sub 50% passer considering the Iron Bowl, and they got their butts kicked in the Iron Bowl. Yes, he had a great individual performance, had 2,300 yards total last season, and he's dynamic on his legs. But Hugh Freeze's offense, you got to have some good timing, got to be able to make some throws that aren't just the simplistic things, and I don't think they've got a lot of confidence right now in the guys that they've got. I especially don't think they have a lot of confidence in the guys behind Ashford. And I know they say things are wide open, but again, you got to keep your eyes and your ears open when you hear these coaches talk, because a lot of them are going to not say a whole lot because they don't want players entering the transfer portal here in the next couple of weeks. I've been to practices across the Southeast this spring, and they're rotating guys like crazy. And then when reporters ask about, say, an offensive lineman going, hey, this guy, he's playing a lot of left guard in practices the last few days. Like, oh, yeah, we're trying him out. We might see if that might be a spot he sticks at. And then I go talk to people who are in the know there, and they go, yeah, that's not sticking around. They're just trying to keep the guy happy for the next few weeks so he doesn't enter the portal. So there's a lot of gamesmanship out there, and right or wrong, dirty or not, that's just how it is out there at every single college football program these days.
Wow. I'm talking with Brandon Marcello right now on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Another story that you pinned on 247 Sports considering the Auburn head coach and the Alabama head coach. Tell me a little bit about the relationship between Coach Freeze and Coach Saban.
Yeah, they're very close. At least they have been in the past. They have vacationed together, Hugh Freeze tells me, at Lake Burton in northeast Georgia. He says that Nick Saban's quite a bit different when he's out on the lake. He's having fun. He's unwinding. They don't talk a lot of football. He's got a place out there, and so does Hugh Freeze. And says Hugh will be hanging out at the dock, and Saban will pull on up, and they'll go boating and fishing, and they'll go golfing. He said the last phone conversation he had with Saban here in the last few weeks, Saban called him to talk about the Robert Bala, I guess how you say his last name, who got hired, who Hugh Freeze, obviously he's worked for Hugh Freeze before, and Saban told him, hey, next time we play golf, you need to give me a few strokes. I'm getting up there in age. And, but these days, it'll be interesting to see how that relationship progresses or regresses once they get closer to the season. And obviously with all these recruiting battles, they're going to have heat up. And, I talked to Gus Malzahn a few days ago about that. And he said, listen, that's all nice. He goes, but he says, I guarantee you, after that first Iron Bowl, things will change between the two of them. That's just how it is. You're going to get something's going to get under your skin. Something's going to happen. It's a dirty rivalry in some aspects in a lot of ways, and at some point you'll get upset. But especially if you lose and you got the boosters all over you and the fans all over you and the administration, that changes the dynamic of any friendship you might have out there.
Well, if there is a blueprint for Auburn to follow, I would invite Auburn fans to look up in Knoxville. And with all the turnover there in Knoxville, be it they did raid the cupboard pretty good there in Orlando, but it couldn't have worked out too much better for Tennessee.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's fantastic what Josh Heupel's been able to do, and that offense is the reason why. And as good as the talent was and the talent they were able to bring up there with them from UCF, Heupel's offense is one as such that I don't know what it is, but it doesn't really matter. I mean, it does matter. You want all the talent you want, but the level of talent isn't necessarily the thing that keeps that thing going. It just makes it go from great to elite. Heck, even at Mizzou when he was there, I thought at the time at Mizzou, I was sitting there going, man, when's this guy going to end up getting like some head coaching calls? Because I think there was still some of that cloud hovering around him in the industry about how things ended at OU. It was really kind of a bad split there, and that hurt him a little bit. And he went to UCF and did his thing, and boy, was it amazing and fantastic. And what he's doing at Tennessee with all that talent, I'm telling you, once that defense catches up with them here in the next couple of years with the recruiting and the recruiting class they've brought in, look out. I think we'll finally be able to sit there and talk that, Georgia's got a contender. And I say that, though, in the SEC East, but we're about to get rid of divisions in the SEC here in the next couple of years. So it's just going to be those top two teams among the 16. And I think Tennessee is going to be in the thick of it there among those top 3, top 4 every year for the foreseeable future.
Might we, since you went there, Brandon, might we get that announcement at the spring meetings in Destin?
Yeah, I think so. I think they'll have it all hammered out and figured out then. Last spring at spring meetings, they were kind of expecting maybe they would have some sort of thing to announce, hey, we're going to vote on this or have it done by August or September before that past upcoming football season. But they went into that room, and about half of them said, we're not so sold on going to a 9-game schedule once Texas and OU join. And the reason for that is some of these schools like Kentucky, Arkansas, Mizzou, they don't want that extra game to toughen up an already difficult schedule, and that's a bit of an issue. But in the end, TV money's going to win. Money wins. The big boys are going to win. They'll end up going to 9 games. I think it would be a surprise right now if they don't. And all signs point to them in Destin in early June, getting that room, discussing it, voting, and approving what will likely be a 9-game schedule. And that rotation they've been talking about with the rotations there. So, I think it's good just for not only the SEC but college football because they're going to get to play every team in the SEC over a certain amount of years instead of waiting a decade plus for some teams to play each other, like a Kentucky and Texas A&M, which I know that's not a big game, so to speak, but heck, it could be in October if Kentucky's going on a run like they usually do and they're contending, and then Texas A&M needs a real good resume win, or they're contending. That can end up being a big game in October. You just never know, and you got to have that type of rotation year to year to year to, one, lift up every team in the SEC, but two, create some interesting matchups that we cannot predict year to year. They're actually going to be great ones.
So, isn't it true Georgia's never been to Texas A&M, to Kyle Field?
I think so, yeah.
That's just nuts.
It's crazy to think about.
Yeah, and that will get alleviated. That'll be rectified here when they go to that 9-game schedule.
It's kind of hard to wrap your head around that, but just from an SEC footprint alone, there are so many storylines. Which storyline intrigues you the most, Brandon?
As far as spring practices, I think it's really, to me, is who's going to end up being that kind of star quarterback, that star player in the conference this upcoming year. I think a lot of people want to point to Tennessee, but I'm not so sold on that. Maybe it ends up being Spencer Rattler. He performed a lot better than I thought he was going to last season, especially in those last 3 to 4 games. Their offensive line really progressed and improved throughout the season. I watched them in person early in the year in a bad loss at Arkansas, and at the time, some of us thought Arkansas was going to be a top 15, top 10 team, and they weren't by the end of the year. South Carolina looked like a top 15, top 10 team by the end of the year. Both programs went opposite directions, and it's because Rattler and that offensive line started settling down a little bit. And I think Rattler has a chance here to end up being that breakout star for the Gamecocks. And whatever it is with Shane Beamer, it seems like, at least here early in his career, he's always got one or two huge wins in him every season. And this past year, he had two huge ones, obviously, and going to Clemson and winning. Yeah. My goodness, that was more shocking to me than them beating Tennessee the way they did. And because Tennessee's offense, if it's herky-jerky at all, and of course with the injury with Hooker there's opportunity there to take advantage of a game where they have to punt the ball 2 or 3 times more than average. Whereas at Clemson, that defense is supposed to be what's carrying them. That didn't happen. But anyway, enough about last year. Shane Beamer's got something about him, and Spencer Rattler's a special talent. I think we all kind of tried to overlook that after the way that OU tenure ended for him, and he's resurrected himself and did so impressively behind what I thought was an average to below average offensive line last year. And if they get better this year, look out. They got a couple really good tight ends this year. Once again, they've rebuilt that receiver room, and the new offensive coordinator, Dow Loggins, I think, is better than Marcus Satterfield as a play caller and a guy who prepares players. And I can't wait to see what they look like early in the season.
So the other area I wanted to go with you, Brandon, before we let you go, is the transfer portal itself. I know the numbers are a little more inflated due to the COVID, but the fact that it's opening up on Saturday, I don't know about you, but I was caught a little off guard because I thought the portal was opening up on May 1st, and I thought that's smart because it's after spring drills. Well, that's not the case. Where it's opening this Saturday and running through the 30th, and at least hearing from Lane Kiffin, it's a case where you can't go inside the conference, but you can go outside the conference. Who in the world is running the portal?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And once again, the coaches and administrators and everybody are going to have to get back together, and they have been getting back together, discussing what this is all going to look like in the future. I think any coach will tell you that they are just absolutely dreading waking up Saturday morning, especially because, there's 20 schools this Saturday playing their spring games. So you legitimately have players who could, right before the spring game or right after it, be entering the portal, and they're dealing with all that. And also these coaches have a lot of recruits coming on campuses for these games, these spring games. So they got their plates absolutely full, and they're going to be pulling their hair out. And again, I think that everybody goes in with the right intentions, and we always talk about unintended consequences, but I honestly think that sometimes they just don't think it out too quickly. They get sold a bill of goods of like, well, this is going to alleviate the issues that you guys had from January all the way till April, May. And they're like, oh, yeah, okay, good, because that's when we're focusing on high school recruiting and all that. Well, no, now it's still a year-round thing for you. It's just now that you're concentrating it in a 2-week period here where it can get crazy again. And the other thing is what keeps the coaches up at night is they do not know what to expect. They don't know how many players are going to enter. The expectation is obviously not going to be as large of an exodus as we saw this past December with 1,300 players leaving that month. But the question is what kind of quality enters the portal in respect to not necessarily quantity, but what's the quality like? Are we going to see some big-time names enter there? The coaches don't know, and that's what's keeping them up at night because they don't know who's going to leave, but also who is going to be available. I had one coach tell me, he walks into his meeting room this spring, for regular meetings before spring practice or after spring practice, and he's got like 4 guys in his position group, which will kind of narrow it down for you what position he's coaching. And he'll say, I'm sitting there thinking, I'm talking to all you, and I'm thinking in my head, am I wasting my time? Because 3 of the 4 of you might be gone. You might not even be here in 2 weeks. Legitimately, that's my fear, that 3 of the 4 are going to leave. And so I'm sitting in there talking about spring practice, and then also I'm rotating them and trying to keep them all happy. It's a lot of it's just not very, not necessarily over the table, but I think it leads to a lot of, cloak and dagger for these coaches, which doesn't help the players. And for that matter, the players are cloak and dagger, acting like they're staying there so they don't lead on to what they might end up doing this upcoming Saturday.
Wow, there is a lot to sift through right there. Just one quick sidebar for you, Brandon. Just from watching from afar, Coach Prime up in Colorado, that already looks fun, and we haven't even gotten to game one.
I can't wait. And he might, from what I hear, there might be 20 to 25 players still leaving from them in the portal, and they might be adding another 12 to 15 here in the next 2 weeks.
Wow. Brandon, great stuff as always. Thank you so much for your time today, sir.
All right, thanks, guys.
That's Brandon Marcello, the National College Football writer for 247. I go there every day. 247sports.com. Nick Saban is on deck, but so is Coach Colley. Oh, yeah. Tag team coming at you.
Hey folks, Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford. If you've been considering owning a new Mustang, Explorer, Expedition, Edge, Escape, or Bronco Sport, we have 0% financing for 60 months on 22 models of those vehicles. This won't last long because as we sell off our 2022s, 0 for 60 goes with it. When they're gone, they're gone. Let me repeat, Woody Anderson Ford has 22 models of Bronco Sport, Explorer, Escape, Edge, Expedition, and Mustang with financing as low as 0% for up to 60 months. But when they're gone, it's gone. And of course, it's with your good credit through Ford Motor Credit. This offer ends April 29th. Woody Anderson Ford can also help you trade in and trade up on a Ford Blue Advantage Gold Certified or Blue Certified pre-owned vehicle. Great warranties, 24-hour roadside assistance, and a full tank of gas and a fresh oil change. Don't forget 0 for 60 on select 22 models while they last. Woody Anderson Ford, hope to see you soon.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. The NBA play-in tournament continuing tonight with a doubleheader now underway on ESPN TV and radio. First up, the Bulls and Raptors in Toronto. The winners will play the Heat in Miami for the 8th seed in the East on Friday night. Later tonight, the Thunder and Pelicans in New Orleans, with the winners playing in Minnesota against the Timberwolves for the 8th seed in the West on Friday night. ESPN's Monica McNutt.
The Pelicans have experience in the play-in, right? Last year they had to win a play-in, ended up in a terrific series versus Phoenix. And so feeling like they dropped the ball versus the T-Wolves the other night to close out the regular season, I wonder what urgency the Pelicans come out with. I think Trey Murphy is an emerging star in this league, and Herb Jones should be on the all-defensive team. And of course, Brandon Ingram's ability to score the basketball as well. So I'm excited about this matchup. OKC is the younger team. I think we're past the point where we can call the Pels a young team.
Monica McNutt. The Cubs sign outfielder Ian Happ to a 3-year contract extension. ESPN's Jesse Rogers reports the deal is worth $61 million and includes a full no-trade clause. Texas Rangers shortstop Corey Seager will be out at least 4 weeks with a left hamstring strain. He got hurt on Tuesday against the Royals. From the NFL, Giants running back Saquon Barkley does not plan to sign his franchise tender before the team's offseason program starts next week. The Giants have been negotiating with Barkley on a long-term deal since putting him under the franchise tag.
It's Greeny, and we are dialing it up for the start of the NBA postseason. The play-in is here. The playoffs are around the corner, and we're the place to talk about it all. It's Greeny, starting 10 a.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
.97.7 ESPN The Zone. Welcome to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline, 256-576-4977.
That's how I roll. And I'm not going to drink and drive anymore.
That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Wes and Steve.
Back here with you on the drive, along with Wes Neighbors. Steve Moulton back here with you. We're going to go tag team right here, full effect, as we are currently in a holding pattern for head coach Nick Saban, and hopefully we can hear about some dogs from Coach Saban as Coach Colley, Antonio Langham, is kind enough to join us. We do have Wes here with us tonight. Coach Colley, how are you tonight?
Ooh, come on.
How are you, sir?
Man, you went missing Monday.
Huh?
Said you went missing Monday. I was there to get my partner, and he wasn't there.
Well, Joe called me, offered me this long apology yesterday, and I accepted it with flying colors, but I told Joe, don't worry about it, because the guy that I have a bone to pick with that I'm going to take this up with is William Neighbors.
Well, you know because that I would never.
Joe didn't call me. Then Wes supposed to call me. I didn't expect Joe to call me. I expected Wes Neighbors to call me.
Well, I tried to call you.
Why. No, you did not.
I texted you too.
When? Yeah, the day of.
Well, I mean,
you knew it was a few days before.
I didn't know you weren't invited. I thought you were. I thought you had it always on your calendar. It's in April.
You know that. Hey, man, look, you supposed to. Do you remember everything, Wes?
Absolutely.
No, you don't. Don't do that, Wes. No, you don't. Don't do that today, Wes, on this radio.
Anyway, you missed it. I sat with Bobby Humphrey in Holcut, and Bobby said to let you know, he said, thanks for the seat.
Man, that was the first problem.
So we missed you, but we'll I don't think it'll ever happen again.
I don't think so either.
No, I was, I thought automatically he knew to invite you. Just seriously, because you've done it with me, and we're talking about Monday, Steve, and
the interviews.
With the and Antonio and I have such a good time with it. And Antonio, how great are the students we interview?
Oh man, they're really too smart for their own good.
I mean, it's amazing.
It is.
Alabama's in good hands with the people coming through there, and I was thinking the one year Dr. McCullough gives away a scholarship for somebody who wants to be a doctor. It's a big scholarship, yeah. And you remember the year, and it's going back maybe 5 or 6 years ago, Antonio, he didn't have a applicant. Were you there at that one? Where he didn't have one person interview? Well, he had 15 people interview this year. And anyway, it was always good. Lauren, how do you say your name? The sideline reporter, Stisler?
Yeah.
She spoke.
Lauren Sisler.
Lauren Sisler, thank you. She spoke and did an excellent job. And anyway, we missed you, and we'll make sure that doesn't happen again. I think Holcut, you might be getting a call tomorrow about next year. So
I already got a phone call from Holcut the other day, and he promised me that he's gonna buy me dessert at Bright Star next week.
Wow.
Will you go on Thursday?
Yeah.
Okay.
Next Thursday.
Yeah. So I'll see you there. Yeah,
if you wasn't there, I just had to be the one. I had to stand in for you and tell them, Wes is my godson, but he's not here tonight. Y'all all know Wes is my godson, but he's not here tonight. I'm sorry.
That's the one. That's the one time I didn't show up.
What time you didn't show up?
Yeah, boy, it was awful.
He let us know about 8 times. He said, "Well, y'all know Wes is my godson, but he's not here tonight. He had something to come up." And we went to talk about some other bit, and then he said, "Well, Wes, Neighbors, that's my godson. I'll never forget when he was born, when Billy asked me to be his godfather." Hey, Steve, I text Wes. I said, "Is there any way you could get on a helicopter and get the Bessemer right now? Cause this meeting is not gonna go well until you walk through that door, man."
We missed Tommy though. He was he's something else.
That was a great sit-down interview we had with.
Yeah, and we need to probably go next year. It's hard to do it on a Monday when we only have an hour.
Yeah, still worth it.
But the people there are incredible, and just the people that supported that, and not a lot of people know about it. I mean, really, we should have twice as many applicants as we have, because it's we've given away $12,000 in scholarships to 2 people. So it's a big commitment. And anyway, but
well, at some point during this interview, Antonio, my goal is I know you have the secret decoder ring to translate Sabanese for us, and Nick Saban is scheduled to talk to the media at some point, and there is no water bottle, just to let folks know. So we've got a little bit of time here to set this up, but I'd like you to translate exactly what Coach Saban is trying to tell his team and the media when it comes. He's already 9 minutes late now, so
that's usually bad.
That's usually a bad sign.
Yeah, when he's late, he comes in, he's mad.
Who's ever there doing the interview? Somebody need to when they ask a question, need to say, "Where Antonio Langham said to let you know that you are late for your press conference." He said that in the words of you when y'all went in Cleveland, and is, "I never find you, you find yourself." So he find himself because he's late. But see, won't nobody tell him, but I tell him.
Yeah.
What you tell me all the time.
You just find yourself right there, Coach.
Yeah, you just find yourself because you're late.
Did you get a lot of fines when you
were?
Did you get a lot of fines when you were at
Cleveland?
Cleveland, or San Francisco?
I was there. I got there on time. I was there 5-10 minutes early because I didn't want to hear his mouth.
So let me ask you this: did you like living in San Francisco?
No, I lived in San Jose, but I never went to San Francisco because trying to get into the city was a headache. I mean, I promise you, it was a headache. It was 4 or 5 hour traffic jam. They're trying to get in the city during the day. I never went to the city because
I'm guessing you never hopped on the BART there in San Francisco.
No, I wasn't hopping on nothing. That was it. It was.
You didn't even know anybody named Bart, did you?
Yeah, nobody named Bart. I was San Jose, Santa Clara. That was it. And Oakland. Them the directions I went. It was easier to get to Oakland than it was to get in San Fran. So.
Any earthquakes while you were out there?
Nah, thank God I didn't experience one of those while I was out there. I'm glad I did.
Would have made that experience a little shorter? Is that what you're telling me?
I'm sure it would have, but hey, what's the difference? Hey, we earthquake, we ride out tornadoes here, so I mean, what?
Yeah, I mean, it's pick your poison, right?
Pick your poison.
That's fair. That's fair. Well,
either I'm shaking or I'm gonna get thrown around. One of the two.
Are you surprised, Antonio, having played for Coach Saban, that he's had the success that he's had as a head coach at the college level?
Not at all. I'm not surprised at all. Nick was never an NFL coach, and if he heard me say that, he would agree. He would like it, right? Nick has always been a teacher. You don't teach in the NFL because we know everything. So you're not teaching me. Now you can get me lined up and tell me what the defensive scheme is and how we're gonna run it and how you want it ran. Fine, but trying to teach me, that's not gonna work because at that level, we supposedly should know it all by then.
And you're already developed your muscle memory into a level where it'd be hard to change your footwork and the things you were taught by the time you get up there.
So he was always honestly, he was always built for college. That's where he belonged. That's why when I hear people talking about, man, they saying Coach Saban may leave and go back to the NFL. No way. There's no way he's going back to the NFL where half of the guys be making the same amount of money and he trying to tell them what to do. You know, when he get mad and go doing all that rant, they walk up to him and tell him watch his mouth. Then he go up to the owners like, we can't get along. They gonna say, well, Nick, sit down for a minute. Then they're gonna reach in that drawer. They're gonna call the secretary. Can you bring me so and so's contract? And they're gonna throw it on the desk and say, man, look at that. He gonna look at it and they gonna say, you need to make that work. Hey, I really love you as our head coach, but you got to make that work. You need to make that work. Look at that contract right there. You got to make that work.
Rock, hard place, welcome.
Oh, yeah, He got to Miami now, assistant coach. He thought it was hard with Belichick in Cleveland as assistant coach. So then he goes back to the pros as a head coach. Well, life might be a little different as a head coach in the NFL. No, sir, Bob. As a head coach in the NFL, it's worse than it is being an assistant coach. You just under the command of other folks as an assistant coach. Now you in control of everything. And it's worse because anytime it's not going right, it all rolls downhill. So it's going to start up top. It's going to start rolling. So when it comes from ownership and general managers, that little wire going to stop right on top of your head. Then you gonna get teed off. Then you gonna make it roll down on the assistant coach's head. Then they gonna make it roll down on the player.
Well, I never understood. I just can't. I'm flabbergasted to this day about how the NFL, the upper management works or doesn't work, and the coaches doesn't get to pick his own players. If you look at the players, the places that are successful, they have a lot of say, if not a lot of input, a lot of say. In the places that aren't, they don't. And how do you give to me the quarterback from Houston that's not at Cleveland? How do you give him $250 million?
Deshaun Watson,
with all that baggage hanging on him.
Because right now, Wes, I don't mean to cut you off. I ain't paying for baggage. I'm paying for Super Bowls. That's what I'm paying for.
Yeah, but how do you win a Super Bowl paying one quarterback that's only played in 3 games so far that much money, and then you can't sign the people around him?
We paying him based upon what we saw prior to the baggage coming out. That's what we paying for. What we saw. That's how. Just like with guys with the draft. You get a guy who he didn't play much his senior year. He got hurt his senior year. Well, we're going to go off of what happened to him. We're going to go look at a lot of his film from his junior year, and we're going to try to decide if he can be that guy for us. Man, we already know everything at the end of the day comes down about how many W's you have. As long as the W's outweigh the L's, and you get me in the playoffs and you make a run, I need a Super Bowl. And then let's just be honest. Anything we do in Cleveland at this point is a plus because we ain't doing much else.
No, I mean, but it's going to be hard to get the people good enough to make him good because they're paying him so much money for the salary cap. It's just, to me, doesn't make any sense.
Well, first of all, we get the captain, and we get him in there. We get him somebody. Now, eventually, Cleveland will come back, ask him to restructure the deal and get him some more money back so we can get some pieces around us. If he all about trying to win a Super Bowl, then what he'll do? He'll
get the money back. His massages are pretty expensive, looks like to me. They cost a lot of money.
Well,
here is Coach Nick Saban right on time. Come on now.
Well, my advice, he just go to Lowe's and buy one of them massages.
Yeah, those, that'd be a lot cheaper.
And Nick's still late, I guess. He's still trying to find
Moulton's having trouble with it.
There is clearly an issue that I hope I'm not the only one having it.
Evidently, he's still trying to find some dogs. He might want to call Austin Pay.
Austin Pay?
Austin Pay. He got some dogs in the transfer portal.
So,
Come on, Steve.
Is what happens. So, and we have to get more consistency in performance, and I think it goes back to sustaining and maintaining intensity. The same way you have to finish a play so that we eliminate mental errors. Everybody can do their job, and we can play better as a team. And that bleeds right into the other point of emphasis, which is penalties. It's been a big emphasis for us this spring to eliminate penalties. And I think goes back to the same thing. If I can maintain and sustain my intensity and focus on whether it's jumping off sides, whether it's illegal motion, whether it's wrong formation. And half of our penalties have been pre or post snap. In other words, they don't happen during the play. So, and those things can all be eliminated if we just have a little better discipline, a little better focus, and maintaining intensity. So, those are the things that we really want to emphasize. The last 2 days in practice, I thought the intensity has been good. I think the spirit's been good. I like the spirit of the team. I said that after the scrimmage. There's just a lot of things. We got a lot of young guys. We got a lot of things to work on to try to get a little better consistency and performance. So that's our focus this week. That'll be our focus for the scrimmage, so that we get a little better execution on a little more consistent basis. Obviously, we got the high school coaches clinic coming up this week. This is one thing that we always look forward to. Coaches do a lot for us. They've done a lot of hard work to develop a lot of the guys that we coach on our team, and this is the one way that we can thank them by trying to have the best possible clinic so they can have an opportunity to develop knowledge and get some experience and get some new energy and ideas for things that they can do to help their program, but also hopefully have a good time as well. So we look forward to that as always.
Starting with Nick. Yeah, you added Ken Wisenhunt as a special assistant to the head coach this offseason. Why was he someone you want to bring in for that role specifically?
Well, he's got a lot of good experience. He's a really good coach. He's been a head coach. He's been an offensive coordinator in the NFL for a long time. So I just thought it'd be a great compliment to our staff. He's been in a similar role at Penn State for 2 years, so he really learned the college game. So he's a good guy. I think everybody has a lot of respect for him, and I think his energy, his enthusiasm, his ideas have been very helpful to us.
Go to Mike.
Along the same lines, you added Clinton Dix this offseason. Just what's his role, and as a former player, what sort of perspective can he offer?
Yeah, well, is, sort of a player development coach. We have a couple guys around here. Denzel does a great job. Chap does a great job. They coach the players in everything but football. Has got great character. He's a great person, sets a really good example. He's got really good leadership. The players sort of migrate to him. He gives them great advice and direction and things that they can do to help accomplish their goals. And he's just done a fantastic job for us, and appreciate the fact that he wants to be here. It always makes me happy when we have guys that played here, had great careers in the NFL, made the Pro Bowl, and they want to come back and be a part of the program. So we welcomed him, and he's done a fantastic job for us.
Up here with Charlie.
With Elijah Pritchett going into his second year in the program, what kind of progress have you seen from him this spring?
He's done a good job. Elijah's getting better. I think he's one of those guys that's a young guy that needs to, be able to sustain his intensity, not get penalties, do the little things right. But he has done a really, really good job this spring. He's played well. He's made a lot of progress and improvement. And he's really, competing hard for a position as a starter.
From Chase.
For the coaching staff, what's the fundamental difference between scrimmage 1 and scrimmage 2, and what does that look like on the field?
I don't really know how to answer that question. What's the fundamental difference in scrimmage 1 and scrimmage 2? What's the fundamental difference between game 1 and game 2? Game 1 is the most important game when we're playing game 1, just like scrimmage 1 is the most important scrimmage when it's scrimmage 1. And scrimmage 2, just like game 2, is the most important game when you're playing game 2. So scrimmage 2 is the most important scrimmage when scrimmage 2 comes up. So, I think that each time we do a scrimmage, we're trying to create more of a game-like circumstance for the players. The first scrimmage, we didn't use the press box, for instance. We didn't communicate as we would during a game. Maybe the next scrimmage we do that. So there are some little differences. Sometimes we change up the situations in terms of doing other things that we didn't do in the first scrimmage. But in terms of teaching progression, trying to get the players ready to do what we're going to do in that particular scrimmage, it doesn't really change a lot. the points of emphasis may change a bit, but our approach to it doesn't change much at all.
Stephen. At the star position, Coach, what are some of the qualities you look for in a player that's trying to play at that position?
Well, star is really a Sam linebacker, all right? But they got 3 wideouts or more in the game, so they're playing on a wide receiver, so that guy's versatility different than a linebacker playing that position where he can never play a guy man-to-man. But he is the Sam linebacker in essence. So it takes a guy that, A, is a good tackler. He's tough. He's a good blitzer. But he's got good enough block protection on the perimeter that when they throw smokes and bubbles, he can win, as well as being very instinctive in reading run pass. But then he's got to have enough cover skills to be able to cover slot guy. So that's kind of what we look for. Sometimes that guy's a corner. Sometimes it can be a safety. Brian Branch did a great job, doing that. Minka was great when he was here doing it, as well as playing other positions. But I'm just saying those guys are typically the type of guys that we look for.
Couple more, Tony and then Nick.
Staying on the defense, what qualities do you prioritize when you're looking at the signal caller at inside linebacker?
Well, first of all, the guy's got to be a good communicator. Secondly, he's got to be bright enough to understand, A, what we're trying to do on defense, but B, how do we have to adjust that to whatever the formation is on offense relative to how we want to set the defense or how we want to run a stunt or whatever. So, and obviously Henry was really good at that. And we've got a couple of guys that have made significant progress at that during the spring. But I think it's a work in progress, and hopefully we can continue to build confidence in, several of the linebackers' ability to do that.
We've got 2 more, Coach. I just one.
You mentioned some of the young players on the team with a couple of veterans injured. How does that impact any evaluation in terms of addressing a need with the spring portal opening up this weekend?
I don't, we talk to our players about what they need to do to develop in this program. And that's how we coach them every day, and that's how we focus on them every day. But I think the fact that we've had 3 or 4 or 5 at times starters out on defense has really given other guys great opportunities to be able to get a lot of reps, to develop a lot of confidence in what they're supposed to do and make a significant improvement and be responsible and compete, like starters, which a lot of guys have. So how that impacts the future, I really don't have a crystal ball. I can't tell you that. So I don't really, know how to answer that part of the question.
One more finish up.
Hey, Coach, just wanted an update on the quarterbacks and was curious if anybody, or I guess who has made the most improvement thus far in the spring?
Quarterbacks, who's made the most improvement?
Well, I think both guys have made, really good progress. We're, not disappointed in anybody's progress. I thought they both played, well in the scrimmage. Both guys have had their moments in practice, and they've also had learning opportunities when they've made mistakes, and both of them have responded very well and made improvement. So there's really I don't have an evaluation other than the fact that we're coaching every one of the 4 quarterbacks that we have in a program every day to try to help them develop to be the best players they can be. And we're going to continue to do that, and hopefully those guys will continue to have the right attitude about trying to play winning football with the position. And one of the things that sometimes you have to learn that you got to eliminate the bad plays to play winning football. So there's some plays in the game that kill you. So to be able to eliminate those things is a bigger part of being able to execute all the good things. And that's what helps you play winning football. You eliminate mistakes, and you can execute and take advantage when the opportunity presents itself, because you're going to distribute the ball in every down, and we don't ever want to turn it over. And you've heard me use the analogy before. We want every series to end in a kick. Might be a punt, might be a field goal, might be an extra point, but we're not turning it over and giving it to the other team. And that's an important part of being able to execute at the quarterback position. All right, thank you.
Nick Saban press conferences on 97.7 ESPN The Zone is brought to you by McCurry Van and Car Rental. Our locations in Athens and Huntsville can serve your driving needs. Whether you need a car for 2 days or a passenger van for 2 weeks, we've got you covered. Rent local, rent McCurry Van and Car.
And we're back here live, and let's talk to the secret decoder ring who speaks Sabanese, and that is Antonio Langham. What did you hear in that press conference?
First thing the first thing I heard in Sabanese was we were very undisciplined. Post-play, pre-play, and post-play. That's what we were all season long. We were very undisciplined. Pre-play, pre-snap, and post-snap. That's the first thing I heard in Sabanese. He tried to dress it up a little bit, but without using the word undisciplined. But he said we were penalized more pre-snap, post-snap than we were during the actual snap. So that means we were either undisciplined right before the snap, or we were just doing a lot of extracurricular activity after the snap, which was getting us penalized.
We had more interference penalties last year than I ever remember, ever.
Are you shocked?
Yes.
Why?
Yeah, because to me, a lot of them were warranted too. I mean, there were easy calls. There were a couple that weren't, but I think we got a reputation with the refs. Once you get a reputation of refs, they're quick to throw the flag. Why do you think that that we shouldn't? Why? I don't think that's been a big thing throughout his career where they got a lot of penalties.
For the most part, it has been because we don't play technique like we supposed to. The one thing, what is the one thing you watch? We watch every Alabama game, and you hear fans fuss about on Sunday and Monday is what?
No,
we never turn around and look for the
ball. Yeah.
And we have been getting penalized a lot all last several years of us not looking for the football. And then when I'm asked the question, I have to go on my rant and explain it the same way. Number one, we are off at the line of scrimmage. When I put you in press technique, I put you in press technique to disrupt the wide receiver at the line of scrimmage, which means I want you to get your hands on him and force him to run a circle, take him off his track. But we don't do that. If you watch football now, high school, college, NFL, everybody that you put in press technique now, Steve, I'm sorry, I'm on my rant for a second. When you put them in press technique, they are lined up in press technique, and when the ball is snapped, they are backpedaling out of there, and then they're turning and running with the wide receiver. So, number one, you have not taken him off his track. Two, you have not disrupted him at the line of scrimmage. You have given him a free release. And third, what I really need to do is just pull you out of that altogether and put you at off man and tell you to play him, because you have done nothing I asked you to do when I put you up there in press.
So why does that continue to happen?
Because you have a lot of athletes that come in from high school, that come into college, and the one thing they already think they can do is they think they can run with anybody in America. They think they can run with the fastest track guy. Yeah, they all think they can run with Usain Bolt. They all think they can run with them. So, hey, I don't need to put my hands on him. He can't outrun me. It's not about him being able to run faster than you. It's about why I put you up here to disrupt it. What happens is you're losing at the line of scrimmage as a receiver. If he has a great receiver coach, I'm teaching him. The moment you beat him off the line of scrimmage and you get on top of him, do what? Slide over in front of him. He's dead in the water all day long. Because now, as a DB, I got to work around you to try to get back in position. And these quarterbacks are too good when they're throwing the ball. They're going to drop it right in their pocket. That's why. That's why. Because that's why stuff is happening. That's why they're getting beat at the line of scrimmage. I get so fed up at times, I'm like, pull him out of man. Just put him in off man and let him play if you just want to or put him in a zone cover. Play a fire zone. And to the radio world listening, the fire zone is no more than I'm bringing pressure with a zone coverage in behind it. I'm showing you man look, and I'm going to a zone coverage because I don't want to take the chance to put my DBs in a press man. Because if you want to see a coach put his hair out, keep putting your guys in press the whole game and watch what happens.
If they're not putting their hands on. So when you watched the Tennessee game, what was going on in that game? Because those guys were as open as I've ever seen anybody open that played Alabama.
because, number one, here's the biggest problem now. Nobody has the mentality. I'm not going to say they don't have it. You don't see it when you're watching the game. No, the mentality of, this guy, he got one on me. He would not catch another. I would do everything. I would fight, kick, scratch, whatever I have to do to not allow him to catch any more touchdowns. What happened in the Tennessee game was one guy get hit up over here, then the next guy get hit up. Now, guess what happened? Oh, my God. It's millions of people on TV watching this game. What I don't want to do is after the game is start looking at social media and hear everybody talk about how I was getting burned up all day long. So what I'm going to do is, whatever I'm going to do, I'm going to try to keep from getting beat deep. So play. If I put you in press, play. It's going to happen. You're going to get hit up. Welcome to the world of football. They recruiting guys just like Alabama recruiting five-star guys. You're going to get hit up. The question is, how many times am I willing to get hit up before I turn into a different mode, before I go from local joker to Superman and say enough is enough. I ain't giving up no more touchdowns, no more passes today. But we get caught up in that. But I still remember to remain a local joker and not get hit up on TV. So I just play deeper and give up everything underneath and keep from getting beat deep. Getting hit up underneath all day long is just as bad as getting hit
slow
deep.
death.
Getting hit deep. It's slow death now. You're taking, instead of instant death, you're taking a slow death.
So
if you
what are you saying? Local joker?
Yeah.
That's a brother term, isn't it?
Yeah. No, I've heard white guys say that.
I meant like Brother Oliver.
That's funny. That's really good. That's fantastic.
Oh, I didn't know what you meant.
I meant Brother Oliver.
No, that ain't no Brother Oliver term. That Brother Oliver term is if you out there and you balling and you fighting, you scrapping. Brother Oliver term is, hey, that dog a hunt. That's his term right there now. That's his term. But if you're not doing it in Brother Oliver term, is he's awful. Just awful.
Yeah.
How old do you know Kevin Steele?
Very well. Steele recruited me coming out of high school. I think Steele was at Tennessee at the time. And he was recruiting me coming out of high school, man. So I am really, really good friends with Kevin Steele. I think Kevin Steele was a very good hire for Nick at this point. I think Steele was a very safe hire for Nick at this point. Steele has done a good job of running the defenses at the place he's been lately. I mean, well, Miami took a few hits, but hey, when he was at Auburn, he had some pretty good defenses over there. So I like Steele, and I think Steele can get the defense back to where we needed to be. But I still feel bad for him because we lose one this year. We have a bad game, then all of a sudden, Steele is the worst thing we ever hired. So, it's catch-22, Live with the good and with the bad. So, hey, but he's been around the game long enough to know you can't pay attention to all this. So I think Steele was a very good hire for Nick and for Bama.
Was it scheme or execution last year on the defensive side?
Let me tell you something. I was so tired of everybody bashing Pete Golden. I can understand why Pete Golden got out of there, man. The man getting bashed about how bad our defense playing. And I'm going to say this again like I said last year. If we were allowed to go sit in a defensive meeting room with Pete Golden and the staff and the whole defense and watch the film, I guarantee you 85% of our problems on defense was one or two. It doesn't take but one guy to be out of position for a big play to happen.
Yeah.
Two people out of position, touchdown. If we probably had 85% of the time, we probably had a bunch of MEs or MTs, which is mental errors or missed tackles, and nobody wants to talk about that. We always want to say, "Oh man, Pete Golden, man, he had called a terrible defense. The defense was awful." And then, listen here, man. Since I've been coaching for so long, and excuse my rant again, I've been coaching long enough. We as defensive coaches, we sit in a room all day long and watch film till we start throwing up like we on the Simpsons or something. We just start throwing up for no reason, or South Park. And then we come out and we put a scheme together. We look at personnel. We look at personnel. Either they run a lot of 11 personnel, which is 11 personnel or 12 personnel, one running back, 2 tight ends, whatever the personnel scheme may be. And we say, tendencies say when they come in this personnel, they balance. Or when they ain't come in this personnel, they 30% run, 70% pass. And then we come into a game and we line up and we see these personnel come in and we call according to tendency. And then we make a call from the sideline and we throw it into the field, into the arena, where we have 11 guys. They call the defense and they break the huddle, and then we leave that play up to them, whatever else happens after that. But then if it goes wrong, man, our defense coordinator awful. He don't know how to call the defense. Now, you don't know. You're not in the meeting room, so you don't know how many mental errors or how many missed tackles or whatever we had going on in that time. Now, 15% of it, Pete Golden probably gonna say, "Man, I wish I could have that call back. I missed that one." But 85% of it ain't his fault.
I know they don't teach a technique to running by the Tennessee receiver. Yeah, we look like
Hyatt looked like he had one of those cloaks from Harry Potter.
What we look like is they were flying in formation. They all looked like they were doing some kind of a dancing drill. They just ran beside them.
They spread the field.
Yeah.
And so is that Pete Golden's fault? No, it's not.
Well, clearly.
If what I have on the field is all that I have, and I don't have guys on the sideline that I'm ready, that I think are ready to put in the game to pull some of these guys, that's the worst thing on a football team as a football coach is to have coach a position where you have no competition. You just have guys you know are not ready to play, and you cannot put them in there and compete against the guys that are starting. That's the worst thing for a coach, because now I'm forced to have to just go with what I got and coach and coach and coach and coach and hope that one day before we get beat too bad that it sinks in. Thank y'all today. Thank y'all all.
Do you feel better now?
Yeah, I feel better now.
Well, the latest rant I'm about to have is what's happening on Saturday with the transfer portal opening, with how many teams having spring games on Saturday and how many more next Saturday. This is just, I mean, I know recruiting is important, but this is ridiculous, in my opinion.
It is awful. It is awful. I feel so bad for the high school kids. Only the ones that are 5 stars that ESPN and them are preaching about is the only one that's getting lucky around here. At this point, all these other kids that work their tails off that are not 5 stars, they just out there because everybody is looking at the portal now. Let me see what the portal got. Let me make sure we put a bunch of scholarships back and see what's left in the portal before we do whatever. So now you just got a bunch of kids out here that's working their tails off in the summer. There's folks paying for all this training for them to come back, and if they're not a 5-star, and some 4-stars, if they're not at the top of the list as a 4-star and they somewhere in the middle toward the end, it's over, man. And it makes no sense, man. I wish the NCAA would fix that portal, because what we have is a bunch of kids that go somewhere and they realize that they can't compete where they are. So now let me go and jump in the portal. Hey, I'm not happy.
So the other wrinkle that I just found out about, and it came actually from Lane Kiffin's press conference, this cycle you cannot go from SEC school to SEC school. You can go SEC to Big 10, Big 12, Pac-12, whatever, but you cannot transfer, say, from Georgia to Alabama.
Also, when they open up the second portal, when the second portal after the spring, then you can go from
free reign. That 45-day period in December is free reign. Here in April,
so the 40, okay, all right.
This is a 15-day period. You cannot transfer inside your own conference.
Okay, I got you. Well, you told me something I didn't know today, Steve. I appreciate that. So I know when they have the spring over with and we jump into this portal, they can't go from SEC to SEC. They have to go from SEC to Big 10 Pac. Okay, all right, well, that's something else to know.
That's something else that just why? I have no idea. I don't know who thought that was a good idea.
Why do we have two? You give them 45 days in December to make a decision. If you don't know what you want to do in 45 days in December, what makes you think you're going to know what you want to do 15 days after the spring in the portal, man? If you in the portal 45 days, you don't know what you want to do, who says after spring you're going to know what you want to do in 15 days? Really, man?
Yeah.
I want to go back to the old day when you made your commitment and you sit down in the office and they sent Times Daily and the Huntsville Times, they'll take a picture of you and you sign your name and you go to school and them folks say, you're here for 4 years.
He's going back to Town Creek.
Yeah, man, it wasn't all that. I didn't get a chance to throw 5 or 6 hats on the floor before I grabbed the right one.
You didn't show up with a pet elephant or something?
I didn't throw 7 caps on the floor. I didn't get up and walk out the gym and go to the car and come back with a Mike Tyson cutoff towel on with school on it. And somebody took a Sharpie and drew the school on there. I ain't get a chance to do all that, man. Nobody did. Wes, you didn't get a chance to do that. Hey, you know what I'm saying?
No, I committed first hour. I committed to Alabama.
And then Coach Dye was immediately on the phone with him.
No, I'd already been to see Coach Dye. Actually.
I know.
Hey, Wes, I pretty much committed that day. When I stuck my head out the door and spoke to Billy, he said, "Man, go tell that man what you want so we can get out of here." I never get that, man. Mr. David, how you doing? Well, you gonna tell that man what you gonna do so we can get on out of here.
That's fantastic. Well, we need to get up on out of here, but we always appreciate the time that you give us. Thank you so much for deciphering, and I'll make sure Coach Saban knows.
I think we ought to send him
what kind of penalty, what kind of fine?
I don't know about that, Steve. I know this, that we ought to send Collie here a bill as his psychotherapist, right? He got a lot off his chest.
He certainly did.
I think he was laying down as we were talking to him.
Probably.
Yeah. He feels better now. You feel better now, right?
Yeah, I feel better now. I had to fill up one of them, my feet propped up. Got it all off my chest now.
Thank you, Coach Collie.
I'll see you soon.
Thank you guys, man. Woo, come on.
And that is going to wrap us up as we are going to head over to Braves baseball. It's top of the second. The Reds lead it over the Braves 2-0. Braves baseball comes up next. Tomorrow on the program, Sean Salisbury and Drudy Armand.
Log on today, 977ESPN.com. You're listening to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
Are you tired of chasing a roofing contractor to show up on time or even show up at all? I'm Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Our motto at Fleming Roofing is we show up. Our goal at Fleming Roofing is to provide the reliable customer service that you deserve. And we have the resources to meet all of your roofing needs: residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. We are manufacturer certified for roof coatings, single-ply membranes, and asphalt shingles. Whenever you need a roofing professional you can count on, call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We are committed to finding the solution that meets your needs. We don't have quotas or heavy-handed sales tactics. Fleming Roofing, we have expert experience. We show up. Free estimates. Residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. Check us out at FlemingHSV.com. FlemingHSV.com. When you need a quick response, it's Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
I'm with Thomas here from Talent Heating and Air. Thomas, you guys are a premier North Alabama locally owned heating and air company.
We pride ourselves in being deep in the community, helping customers with solutions that they can use to keep their house comfortable. We provide emergency services. You can reach us on our website at talenthvac.com, or you can call us at 256-503-4490.
Talent Heating and Air, let them put their talent to work for you.
AL cert number 21014.
Hello, listeners. I want to tell you a little bit about Minuteman Press and what we have to offer our community. We specialize in paper printing and can help from designing your piece to the finished product. We print media guides for many of the athletic departments at high schools and universities around the area. We typically purchase sponsorships from these schools as well, to try and help them with their fundraising. Once we have reached our new normal, we also print all types of marketing materials for you to hand out either in person, via mail, or at various trade shows and events.